Warning, this video is intended for adult collectors. It contains plastic collectibles, questionable opinions, and the guy that won't leave Scott McNeil alone. You have been warned. This is Random Review.
Now I know it is a very rare thing when TJOmega wants to discuss a third-party transformer. However, there are two things about this that are very important. Number one, this is, again, a very important thing for a reviewer to share an informed opinion about a very expensive item so that you can make informed purchasing decisions and decide if that big price point really is worth it to you or not. Also, this is like a super cool thing, and I really wanted to talk about it, and I really had to have it, so now we're going to talk about it. This is NewAge's Pizzaria set, the remolds of their Brawn and Outback figures, and this is so freaking cool. Okay, so for starters, I love NewAge. NewAge is one of those third-party companies that I always trust, that I always depend on to give me super cool toys that are incredibly cleverly engineered for their size. So I'm very happy to buy any of their products when I have the excuse, and then this set in particular because, well, they remolded it to be like a very particular set of characters, which you might have guessed from the deco on the hood. I'm going to admit, it's a bit IP infringing, so let's, they didn't really give like names for the individual bots in the Pizzaria set, so I'm just gonna call them like by whatever random name like rolls off my tongue. Let's go with the Renaissance artists. Why not? We're looking at Raphael here, for lack of better terms, as these are not associated with any copyrighted material of any kind. So yeah, he is this cute little Jeep, just like the G1 Brawn. He's a very squat little army truck Jeep kind of thing. Very cute little little vehicle mode. Not a lot of detail sculpted in. He's just a cute little thing. He's got a fuel tank on the back. He's got a spare wheel on the top. Here's NewAge quality for you. The spare wheel is actually pinned in and spins. Even at this size, they could have just gotten away with one piece that was with a painted hubcap. They didn't. They actually went full on. That's kind of neat. Paint-wise, we have a little bit of silver there on the front. I believe the yellow is molded in, so it's the black lines that are actual paint. A little bit of tampography here on the top with that splatter effect and the pizza. The deco is pretty limited in this mode and is limited just the windows that are black, as well as the little bit of red that is on the sides and on the floodlights on top. Not a whole lot of deco going on, but then again, does not really need it for what it's trying to accomplish. I do like the look of the vehicle. There are some exposed hinges and things, and a few panel gaps that are very noticeable and can cause a few things to be just ever so slightly off center. But you know what? It's not a terrible job, so we're going to forgive it a little bit. We have on the top two holes that will eventually become the hands, as you can probably tell from that angle. Now, you can fit actual weaponry in there, but these guys don't technically come with any guns per se. We'll get to that. So you have to use the melee weapons that are included, which on these guys doesn't really work. Now, the Pizzaria set, as you probably guessed at this point, is a set of 4 vehicles that are the same shade of green, with the same yellow in the front, and the only difference between them is their accent color. So, of course, we do have the blue one, whose pizza has molded, so please do not eat. We have the orange one, where they have opted for an extra greasy pizza with apparently meatballs or something on it. And then, of course, we have the weirdo here who decided eggplant, because that's the only purple food I can think of off the top of my head. So, yeah. Basically, I'm talking about the red one because it's the only one whose tampograph makes the most sense. He's just red. It's pepperoni and pizza sauce. What do you expect? So, yeah, it's kind of adorable. 4, I can count, 4 little tiny Jeeps with a little bit of pizza on them. Now, given what the source material for these is, I kind of wish there was a little bit more effort, especially because this is based on their Brawn, which is basically the exact same colors. So I kind of wish they were separated out a little bit more than just an accent color and a tampograph. There are other little color inspirations that they could go with, little design inspirations. These characters had something called a party wagon, where they had a yellow spoiler on the top of a van, because in the 90s you needed a spoiler on your van. And they could have replaced that top wheel with such a thing and not really gotten in the way of anything. That just as a quick example. Or they could have added a little bit of paint deco to make it match said party wagon. So, yeah, I think there's a little bit of missed opportunity here, but at the same time, it keeps things simple, I guess. And, keeps this as affordable as possible, which is not very affordable, but we'll get to that. So we need to transform this guy and see how NewAge managed to pull this one off. They pull it off very well. So we're going to go ahead and remove this. And by the way, the gas can does unfold into an extra gun. So if you actually do want to have some kind of weapon mounted on top, that will actually work. But it blends in so much and it's such a small little detail, I don't think it's really worth it. And also, I don't think their sensei would approve of using handguns. So we're going to set that aside for now. And we're going to focus on a little bit of the melee. So we're going to open up the rear here. Transforming this back, it goes in one particular way, so keep that in mind. Unfolding this entire side of the vehicle and closing it together, that completely hides the wheels in robot mode. That's so clever. Folding over the back of the Jeep, which creates the feet. And I need to fold these tiny little hinges down in order to create his toes. So there we go. There we go, like so. So that's ready. Go ahead and we'll get those knees in the right position. I can never remember the position from this point. So we're going to wait for a little bit more completion in the transformation before we get to that. So beyond that, let's go ahead and get these arms out. They peg into the center mass right here. So a little bit of wiggling to get these unseated from that particular piece. There we go. That's one out, because they kind of tab in on top a little bit as well. So it's a little bit of wiggling in order to get this undone. These are a little bit annoying to get back into vehicle mode, by the way, just as an FYI. Takes a little bit of jostling. So once that's done, we unfold this and get that a little bit of elevation, so the arms have range to spin out on these hinges. That'll get them lined up for the correct position in the torso mode, and we'll fold that little tiny piece away. And these little side pieces, these little extra kibble, those get folded up like so, and those will vanish into the transformation. Neat. So that out of the way, we're going to spin this around and shore everything up like so. Going to fold all of this together into some sort of boxy shape, like that you might call a torso. So that there's a little peg there. There's a tab there in the back, so make sure that's connected up nice and good. Nice and good. You can tell my English is here. So rotate the arms around so that you can get all of these things folded out and pointed forward. Now let's go back to those legs that I was having trouble remembering. So we're looking for that hinge to be on the back to act as the knee. And then we can swivel to the front of the leg, which has the color on it. So once again, hinge to the back and then color to the front. And that's how we get him into the robot mode. And that gives us a very familiar figure if you are a 90s kid, or I guess any generation, because let's be honest, this is generational at this point. So yeah, pretense is over. NewAge did a set of Ninja Turtles. This is absolutely hysterical to me that someone from a third-party company said, we're making Brawn, and Brawn already kind of looks like a Ninja Turtle because he's green with a yellow chest. Let's just make Ninja Turtles. We'll run the same colors, change up the paint mask, and then literally give him a mask and just remold the head. And that is absolutely hysterical to me. I love it. So looking at said head, It is very much the 90s kind of sculpting. It's very round. The nose is very pronounced, mask detailed, and the eyes are completely silver, so rather than white. So I guess it gives it a little bit more mechanical, and there's a little bit of silver, so they were already using the color. That's how that works. And it's very much a classic Ninja Turtle. Something akin to something that I would see on the toy shelves in the 90s. So that's actually hysterical. And of course, the other remolds for this are the chest, which does have that Ninja Turtle shell look to it. So good on you, NewAge. You didn't really have to go and do that part too, but you did, and it works. It looks really, really good. Proportionally, very, very nice too. Like, he's a very, very, very balanced little figure. And I think even like bronze little like kibble here on the back, I think this even kind of works because it does emulate the turtle shell just a little bit. I'll take a look at the articulation on this guy. You can probably guess from the transformation, he's loaded. He's got a lot. Head rotates 360 degrees. We have ball joints in the shoulders, which gives that full range of motion, as well as ball jointed elbows. So he does have that swivel and that 90-degree bend that is so helpful. He also has that hinge for the transformation in the wrist. That actually comes in handy, believe it or not, for transformation, for articulation. Waist jointed, so he has that range of motion going to him. Ball joints in the hips that feature very, very nice range of motion. A little bit hindered once we get to the front. Yeah, that's unfortunate, but hey, it is what it is. He also gets a little bit of a gut crunch. You have to break transformation a little bit to do that, but hey, it is there should you want to use it. And now I can't get him back in. There we go. All right, so we also have a thigh swivel and also a 90-degree knee bend, and then the ankle tilt, and we saw a little bit of toe articulation too. He is exceptionally articulated for his size, and this is, again, a reason why I really like NewAge stuff. Aside from just how clever the engineering is and how crazy they can get on the transformations at this size, they also remember that they have to articulate really well too. So they do not let this diminutive scale really hinder what it is. For a figure that's only about 3 inches tall, he is exceptional in engineering and articulation. And once again, I'm just going to point out, like, I absolutely love how they hit all the vehicle wheels in the legs. It's such a good use. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and give him his weaponry, which, of course, for Raphael, those are size. And like so. There we go. They are proper Ninja Turtle size. That little curve on the tips of the side pokers. I don't know what those are called on size. Whatever. Yeah. So he looks exceptionally good. I absolutely love it. Now here's the part where I jump cut so I can show you what all of them look like. And there we go. That is the full team assembled, so you can have an idea of what all of them look like. It is the exact same toy with one color change each, so nothing terribly shocking there. Of note, I will point out a few things on each. Donatello can two-hand that bow staff, though only in really awkward positions, so it's not going to be a whole lot you can do with it. Michelangelo's nunchucks are molded in a bend that lets you put him just at his armpits if you position him right, so at least he makes a little bit of sense holding them still like that. And for Leonardo, that hinge in the wrist will help you point his swords forward. It helps on any of these guys, actually, so that's how that hinge comes in handy, as I said. So, yeah, 4 brilliant little figures and a brilliant little robotic Ninja Turtle team. It's kind of awesome. So there are some inherent problems with this set, and I'm just going to give you a boring shot of all 4 as I discuss them because they are worth discussing. Number 1, it is an expensive set. From what I understand, these are not being marketed to American retailers the way a lot of third-party toys are because NewAge is most likely avoiding the wrath of Nickelodeon lawyers. So instead, they are offering them only in China, so the stock that you see at the few US shops that are actually stocking it are being bought at Chinese price and then shipped to the US and then upcharged so they can make a profit on it. Hence, these guys are going to be really expensive when you find them at a shop on American soil. So I got these at the Chosen Prime. It is an expensive set. It is worth it to me simply because this is my both of my big childhood loves all coming together as one like brilliant little package. So I kind of had to do it. However, there is the other downside in that these are only sold as a 4-pack. So the only way to get them is to spend that big price tag, even if you only want one. And I'm sure there's people who are breaking the set up, selling off all the ones that aren't their favorite turtles. You're probably going to be able to get one that way off of eBay. There is the fact that to play with the entire set, you have to really love the transformation. And it is an incredibly good transformation, but for its size, it is a little bit more complicated than I would like if I'm expected to do it 4 times over just to get all the team in the same mode. So as it stands, I'm probably only going to play with maybe one member at a time, just whatever color I'm in the mood for that day. So the other 3 kind of feel like they go to waste. I feel like, personally, I would feel more inclined to play with all of them if they had taken the modern turtle approach or the approach that the original toy line took and gave all the turtles their own individual shades of green. That way they all stand out from each other. They have a different look and feel to them a little bit. And being sold as a 4-pack, I feel like you have to do something to make all of them stand out just a little bit. And I feel like a simple change in plastic color would have made all of them stand out from each other just a little bit better. I feel like these should have been individually sold and then you sell like the multi-pack as the 4 different colors. I don't know. That's just me. I know that's going to be a divisive thing. It's going to be a very opinionated thing, whether they should be different colors or all matching green. It depends on where your nostalgia lies and what you're after in the set. So, has a long-winded diatribe over what is wrong with the set, but the set itself is very, very right. The transformation is incredibly clever, very cool for the size. And for the size, they did not sacrifice any level of articulation. They do a ton for their diminutive little size. It is an extremely, extremely fun figure. I would say wait to see if they do anything weird, like release something like a metal head or a slash or something to where you could get these maybe a little bit cheaper if you just want to play with the mold, or if they release some generic Ninja Turtle we'll see. I hope they do, because I know a lot of people who aren't going to want to buy an expensive 4-pack just to play with a little Ninja Turtle transformer. For those who want the whole team, even then, you really have to love what the engineering is doing. Otherwise, it's going to get exhausting. I personally love this set, but because of the price point, it is a very, very difficult one to recommend to just anybody. Okay, I did the whole review and realized that a size comparison would be really important on these. So here he is with Generation 1 Brawn, and now here he is with Legend Scale Generations Brawn, and here he is with the Cadbury Cream Egg. Not sponsored.